Staring down from my hiding place on the balcony, I discovered that the werewolves fell squarely into the realm of my problem. There were 3 of them patrolling the parking lot, 3 sedan-sized mounds of fur and muscle, with teeth that looked as though they could tear through metal. They were staying low among the vehicles, visible only from a higher vantage point. So far, 2 separate groups of humans had made it to the parking lot, only to be struck down before they could get near their cars. The werewolves weren't killing yet, just subduing. Every so often a howl would echo from the school's interior, and the sentries would perk their ears. I could only guess at what messages were being conveyed. I was lying flat on the balcony, my eyes watching the scene from a nearby window's reflection. None of the options placed before me were too appealing. I could either vault the balcony and make a run for it, hope to stay here until the werewolves moved on, or sneak back into the school. The problems were that I didn't know if I could outrun these things. If I stayed here till sunup, I'd be dead anyway, and from the sounds inside, it seemed like other werewolves were working their way through the building. Once they caught my scent, I'd have no hope of hiding out. The heavy padding that arose from down the hall, behind my hiding spot, made my decision for me. At least with a running sprint, I'd have the advantage of surprise. I shot upward and leapt the balcony's railing in a single motion. On pure instinct, I rolled with the landing and promptly cursed myself for wasting time instead of hitting the ground running. I recovered quickly and took off through the lot. I kept my speed in human limits to start with. I might only get one chance to outrun or maneuver these things, and I didn't want to give them any warning of what I could really do. A pair of werewolves rushed out from the parking lot's entrance, trying to pincer me from both sides. They angled themselves diagonally, blocking the lanes to the left and right, and prepared to charge if I tried to go around them. I must admit, these things were far smarter than mere animals. The only options they had left me were to fruitlessly try to dodge and get torn to pieces, or to run smack into the grill of a pickup truck in front of me. I chose the latter. I jumped atop the truck and over its roof without breaking stride. If you have never been fortunate enough to see a look of utter surprise race across a werewolf's face, I highly recommend you do so. My furry foes were forced to backpedal and change directions, getting into the rows on either side of me. No doubt they expected me to disembark from the truck and give them a chase on the ground. Their hopes were dashed when I vaulted directly from the truck onto the next car in line and kept running. Going from car to car would have been hard for humans, but not impossible. They would have to be exceptionally well-balanced and in excellent shape to use the strategy at a full run, though. In life, I was neither of those things. However, I was rather happily enjoying my advantage at that moment. The chase continued across several lanes of parked cars. A few times, one of my pursuers would try to mount a vehicle in hopes of overtaking me on higher ground, but their vast size and weight always made the footing unstable. They contented themselves to snapping at my heels, never quite snaring me but doing considerable damage to the metal beneath my feet. I sincerely hoped everyone who made it out of here was insured. Speed-wise, they were able to keep pace with me, unfortunately. The upside was that I could move faster than this if I needed, and while they would tire out eventually, I was under no such limitations. I allowed a cautious amount of optimism to creep over me. Once I tuckered these 2 out, I could make an earnest break for my car and escape. It seemed like I was going to be okay. In keeping with the ways of the universe, it was at that moment I was run over by a 3rd werewolf. I was so preoccupied with handling the 2 below me, I had forgotten there was another to watch for. He slammed into me from his hiding place in the bed of a nearby truck and hurled me from my position. I crunched into a motorcycle a few yards away.